Welcome to the Interviews Podcast.
Prima attenzione, Bobo anticipato, palla vagante, mette giù, recova, il tiro,
Welcome, Interisti, to episode 194 of the Interviews Podcast. We are here for the post-match reaction of Inter Genoa, which finished 2-0 to the hosts. Goals from Dimarco in the 31st minute, a wonder goal. Someone much maligned was involved in that. I'm sure we'll talk about it. And Hakan Çalhanoğlu making his return, slowly working his way back in the 70th on a penalty to send Inter. What was it, 13 or 14 at the top? It's a pretty big lead. I think that's the big takeaway here. Inter gets the 3 points prior to Milan playing tomorrow, and ahead of a match with Como for the Coppa Italia, and ahead of the derby against Milan in Serie A. So a crucial 3 points to pick up after a difficult dumping out of the Champions League. We'll not going to sugarcoat it. I know I haven't given my thoughts on that, and maybe we'll touch on it a bit. But the only thing for us to focus on is Serie A and the Coppa Italia, a domestic double, which I think is a pretty important thing to be fighting for. I'm sure that the disappointment of getting out of Europe is still on people's minds, but I think at the end of the season, if it leads to something historic like a 21st Scudetto, like another Coppa Italia, I think that would be our 10th or our 11th. It's a pretty big deal. So, as always, I'm one half of your co-hosting duo, Alessandro Rafa, joined here by Gianni Paterno. Gianni, the first thing that I thought of when I was watching this game, it felt a little different for me watching it now that we know that we're out of one competition and we're not going to have to focus on Europe at all this season. What was your feeling watching this game? Were you like, are you back on the path here? Are you just completely focused on Serie A and that gets you jazzed up, or are you still sort of carrying a little bit of disappointment from the midweek?
Not so much disappointment. I feel like we had opportunities in that game to come away with all 3 points. Had we gotten one in that first half, there was a really clear handball that was not called, not even gone to, video review by any means. That could have changed, maybe how things proceeded. But once Bodo took the 1-goal lead, I was like, all right, like, let's not even worry about this tournament. Honestly, like, you're down 4-1 on aggregate at that point. You need 3 goals just to even force extra time. We're not in a place to like go to extra time, especially without our captain. I was like, all right, give me a domestic double. I'm happy. It's still, even if we only get one of those trophies, it's still more than we ended up with last season. Yes, the extra money would have been fantastic from the UCL, but at the end of the day, like, we as fans, we care about silverware. So, like, if we got more money, we made it to the round of 16 and we got knocked out by, let's say, City instead of Sporting or whoever, one of the two, if we ended up losing to them and then we end up trophyless because we went to extra time against Bodo Glimt and all, like, are we going to care about an
Somebody
extra...
could get hurt.
Are we going to care about an extra 12 million euros at the end of the day if we come away with no trophies once again? So I'm still excited about the season. We, like, right now, you're right. We have Milan has a game in hand. We have a 13-point lead on them. It probably will be back down to 10, all things considered. But let's just focus on each game as like a mini trophy, really. Like, beating Como in the Coppa semis would be massive. Nima brought it up on the episode that he was on, that if we ended up winning this Coppa Italia, we get a silver star for it being our 10th. Yep. So, like, that's pretty cool. Like, we'll have 2 stars for, obviously we'll have our 21st Scudetto, but then the silver star on top of it for the Coppa Italia. I'd be pretty excited about that, to see that on next year's potential kit lineup, which all 4 look like absolute bangers. I mean, that's what I'm excited about, that potential.
I don't want to turn this into like a reaction to the UCL pod, but I do think it is important just to touch on, like, you and I both were in agreement that this side was not winning the Champions League. So the only thing that like we'd be putting extra games on the players' legs, um, adding some more money to the coffers, however you want to value that, at the risk of potentially players getting hurt, us getting tired, having situations occur that could lead to an epic collapse in Serie A, which obviously, we're still fighting for. It's not a given, but I'm at the point with this team where let's acknowledge or let's get on board with the fact that new coach Christian Kivu coming in, it's a new project. And also, it's a season that I don't think you can describe it as anything other than transitional when you look at this squad. Like, this squad was not winning the Champions League, and now we're close to finally saying goodbye to the likes of Acerbi, Devray, Mkhitaryan, Darmian, who we don't want to say goodbye to, Thuram, Fratesi, all players that, like, at numerous points in time over the last several seasons, people have called for them to be on their way out. This is the summer that everyone is reporting is going to be the revolution. So in the first year of the new project and the revolution, we're fighting for a domestic double with the chance to pull that in. I'll take that. I'll take that. You know what? Bodo, also entire merit to them. Like, go do your thing. Go do your thing. We're not in the position to win the Champions League. Just be honest, Interisti. Let's focus on nailing it in the league. And then also, there's not a pro to be said for the fact that these guys that have been dealing with long, deep Champions League runs, these huge seasons, everyone talks about how Thuram has lost his spark. Same thing with Barella. Let's take the extra however many games off of their shoulders for the rest of the season and see if they can find their spark again. They're tired. They're tired. I'm cool with this. I'm cool with this. There's so many different directions we can go. Dumfries is probably heading out of this team. There's a lot to do. I'm excited heading into the summer. I'm pretty excited, and I'll be even more excited if we get it done in the league. So it's interesting to watch this team, given what we're competing for. And today was mature. I thought it was, a good way to rebound, and it was no nonsense. And Kivu made some interesting selections here. So going into the Coppa Italia tie against Como, Bastoni gets a rest. Mkhitaryan comes in for Sucic, or Fratesi started the game against Bodo, but really this is Sucic's spot that Mkhitaryan is coming into. Bisek sits down, and Pio sits down. Are you looking at that as Kivu's placing an additional level of importance on the Coppa Italia? Did this starting lineup say, okay, he's got his mind elsewhere at this point in time?
I don't think so. I think he just wanted to give certain guys a little bit more of a run out in given their maybe lack of playing time that they've received recently. Specifically, like Boni and Mkhitaryan, I would say, and Devray. I'm sure he did have an eye looking forward to the Como matchup. But I mean, given that he still started, Dimarco, he still went with Thuram, who, even though he hasn't been performing well, he still leans on him. I think that he was like, he understood, like, hey, we still have 3 points to play for here. Yes, I want to like preserve some guys, knowing that we have a big Coppa Italia match coming up. But I think that it was still important for him to put out a strong lineup to be able to solidify the Scudetto chances and get all 3 points.
With the selection of Devray, is it pretty obvious that Acerbi is now plummeted down the pecking order? At one point in time, we were discussing whether or not the best defensive lineup with this team included Acerbi. Now, looking at the numbers, we lose pretty much every game he plays in. Devray comes in, looks amazingly solid again, as he has, pretty much in every limited appearance since earlier in the Champions League against Union Saint-Gilloise. I guess Acerbi's finished at Inter, and Devray will handle these little spot starts through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that you're onto something there. It definitely seems that I forgot who it was. Somebody did point out the numbers exactly for us. on Acerbi's performances and how, although we thought that he is like our strongest and most cerebral defenseman, what the hell? Um, Cerebral defenseman there. It's important to, I guess, give him a little bow out and be able to put out what is technically our strongest back pairing in, DeVry being the, I guess, the guy going forward in the center there, and maybe it being, we could get in a Kanji later too, but typically it would be like a Kanji, Bisek, and I guess Bastoni would be the strongest back three. But DeVry did, a pretty good job. He did have one instance in the first half where he took the wrong angle on Colombo, and Colombo was allowed to just run it in. It didn't end up being anything, but that's just something. Look, I think given his lack of games, those things can happen. So I'm not going to like dwell on it or look at it as like a negative against him.
He's lumbering at this point in his career. Like
that he is. Yeah.
It takes a little bit to turn that ship around. That's why like this high line doesn't necessarily suit him, but as long as he stays back, I mean, his positioning and his intelligence is still at the top of the game for a center back. I really liked what he did today. As far as this game is concerned, those first 30 minutes, you got the sense that we were going to be experiencing a frustration that we know all too well, with our inability to break down a low block. And the conversation that I think this whole game, this conversation's been had, but what I think that this game really does show is like the only way through the low block, it's either cross and inshallah and you hope you get on the end of it, or you have individual moments of brilliance. The game is opened up by, just a perfectly executed couple moments of brilliance. That's what Mkhitaryan delivered in terms of the ball over the top to Dimarco, and obviously that finish was spectacular. Dimarco, not just Inter MVP, I think he is running away with Serie A MVP, and I don't think it's particularly close at this point.
No, there is no debate. There is no one else who is playing at the level that he's playing at, performing consistently week in, week out, providing goals and assists from a position that doesn't typically have it. Like, I mean, Paramount Plus, I'll give them some credit for this one. They showed like goal contributions on the season. He is currently 6th in all of Europe and the only one who is not an out-and-out attacker. Like, yeah. He's with the like the names like Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe. I forgot who else was on that list, to be quite honest, but those are the two that I know are at the top, and he's right there. So it's like, what an incredible season he's having. I think it's very underappreciated in world football, which I'm okay with. The less people that know about Dimarco, the better, in my opinion. Because the last thing I want is a guy like Pep coming in, saying that's exactly who he wants. Although I don't think he would do well in the EPL, but that's for another story. But yeah, incredible player. Just the way that he was able to strike that ball as it was coming down.
Such a hard technique.
Like, it's like I don't think people understand just how difficult of a technique that is, and how hard ball coming over your head, having to just line up. He hits it with the outside of his left boot, cross goal, far post, perfect, just perfect. And man, like I said, I need him, I need Pio, I need Sucic and Zielinski kits for all next season, because man, I'm loving the way these guys are playing, but him especially. Like, he's just been immense for us.
And he was so dangerous just like outside of that. Like prior to that goal, he was the main threat. I also did think, like, for all the criticism he gets, Barella teed up some stuff. He also had an opportunity himself that he didn't bury, that he should have made the 2-0. You have to say that, but like, there have been so many times this season where the crosses are pinpoint and we're not doing the job of the rest of the guys are not doing the job of putting it away. But anyway, we'll get to that conversation. I think less than 1% of players strike that ball, like go for that kind of technique and put it in the back of the net. I'm just being honest. The way you have to time the ball on the way down, you have to contort your body in a way that, hit it with the right amount of pace, the right amount of touch. Like there was a lot going in to that strike. And what is consistently given to Dimarco is that he has this magic left foot, which he does. This season, you get to see just how devastating having that level of technique is, because there's one thing that's present this season that wasn't necessarily present last: consistency. He is doing this every game, every single game. I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll look at some stats here for just his last several games. But look at this. A goal, a goal, 2 assists, a goal, 3 assists, an assist, a goal. Like, this is consistency. Look at all that. Look at that. There's the green, but then all this blue. No one does that, where it's literally 8-10 games in a row of just extremely high level contribution. He is the MVP. He's the runaway MVP. Those rumors about Manchester United and Arsenal, like, were enough. He's not going. He's not giving up what he has here to hang out in Manchester, gloomy Manchester, for the rest of his career. Not happening, but all the props have to be given to Dimarco on that one. Keeping in line with that conversation around breaking down the low block, there's a player who, when he first joined Inter, was who you looked for to break down this low block. He could get in behind. He had incredible pace. He was not hesitant. He'll just, put down his head and take you on. But he's lost that, and he's lost that tremendously. Marcus Thuram is a shell of the player that he once was. There's just not much that he's doing at this point in time. And Gianni, I have to say, I don't know that there are teams looking at this that say he's worth 50-60, what the rumored, transfer fee that Inter would be looking for. But at this point, looking at him right now, you signed him for a free. Somebody comes in with 25. I'm taking it. I'm resetting.
One, I don't think it'll be that cheap. I definitely agree with you on the maybe not being worth 50-60 by any means, especially in his current form. But I think he could still get you 35-40 million, like, just on
Just
name,
on Premier
potential,
League,
and what he's done
Premier League
and what you
signing
can
on him.
charge. I'm not too concerned with it not being the case. So yeah, it's unfortunate, the regression that we've seen. Definitely not the player that we were hoping would be performing in this way, because given the opportunity that he has now with Lautaro being hurt, you would hope that he would have stepped up, been the guy to, like, all right, not going to put the team on my back and shoulder the, just the pressure in this moment. And it just hasn't been the case, unfortunately. He just seems, no burst, no flair. When he dribbles at a guy, he just goes right into them and loses the ball every time. Before, he used to cut back and try to, like, draw a foul and actually would win penalties and stuff. None of that now. Probably should have had 2 goals himself. Barella teed him up on a couple that ended up, he just either shot right at a person or dribbled into a person. Yeah, if somebody, just anyone wants him, I'm cool with it. There was a funny Inter account from Italy who put up a picture of it was basically responding to Manchester United's interest in Pio Esposito, and he just put Thuram, but on the back of the jersey it said Pio Esposito.
Yeah.
Fantastic image, but it's a shame what's happened. Boni looked the most threatening all game.
Yep.
And I feel like, Kivu has to look at that, and going into the match with Como, it kind of shows it should be Pio and Boni starting for that matchup and not Thuram. I think, that's, it's where he should be, unfortunately, on the bench. So
You bring up the lack of burst, which makes me think that this is physical. When you think about, if you looked at his transfer market page, which I can pull it up here in a second, when they roll through a player's injuries, he's suffered a whole variety of injuries, and pretty much every single season he misses time. Now, the one last year was like calf ankle that he ended up missing a lot of time for. This season, I think it was the exact same thing. So, it was a hamstring. I think we have to consider the possibility that from a physical perspective, we're not going to see the Marcus Thuram that, we've seen in the past. And that's a sad thing to see. Like, just take a look at this. I mean, he missed, whole seasons with a whole season with who was it?
Ace.
Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
Yep. He's had injuries, ever since he came to Inter, and I really do think that physically something is wrong with him, but there's also a mental component here where it seems like for 2 seasons in a row, he started the season on fire, scoring all these goals, and then the injury comes, and then he just can't rebound from it. Which, that part of it is physical, but I think that there's also a mental aspect of it too. We've seen players on this team come back from injury and, find their way to contribute. And I think it's safe to say we're not getting any contribution from Marcus Thuram at this point.
Yeah, zero contribution from him at this point. Like what has happened to this guy? And I said it in the last episode. It feels like since that like little incident with his brother against Juve, it's kind of just been tailing off. Like he had his giggles, and I don't know if he's checked out mentally on this club or what, or he like is looking for a new challenge and he's just kind of bored and he knows what's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe this it's just not the place for him anymore. And yeah,
Do you sign an out-and-out striker to replace him?
No, I signed a joker to replace him. I think, I kind of shared what I would like to see for next season. Maybe if you sell him, you can get a guy like a Curtis Jones who can maybe play behind the striker. You have, let's say Jones, Lautaro behind Pio, or you can do, Bonni and Lautaro. Like you could do different things, and I think that that'll be the way to go for next season. Nima said a really good point that, you could have Zielinski, Sucic, Barella, and, Stankovic as your rotation for the double pivots, which I'm like, that's awesome if you have that.
High level.
Yeah, like that would be an ideal situation there. And then, obviously you still have Dimarco, and if you're able to bring in someone like Palestra to be on the right side, which, some think is going to be way too unlikely. It probably is unlikely as much as I want it to be the guy that we go after. But
did you see the Cagliari president's comments? He's like, Juve and he said Napoli and Inter are interested, but they can't afford him, and that he's going for minimum 50 million.
And the way I look at that, all right, that's probably true. And I was talking about it with Dave, who used to do Brothers of the World pod, and I said, hey, look, we spent 40 million on Hakimi. That was like in 2018. That's kind of the same price if you look at like inflation over 8 years, right? Like it's not like that crazy. Yes, for us as Inter, that could be a lot to invest. But if you get some, you get, let's say 20 million for Dumfries, let's say 30 million for Thuram. There you go. There's your money to go get the player that you desperately need on that right side. Like, after today, Luis Enrique, in my opinion, that's his unwillingness to take his man on the right. Like, Diouf comes in, and maybe the wrong decision to not pass to Fratesi when he has that opportunity, but instant threat, direct, right to goal.
Not hesitating. Not slowing it down.
Nope. I like that he took the shot. Like, I mean, in the sense that he made a decision. Right. Maybe not the right one, but he still took a chance. Luis Enrique is playing like he's afraid to make a mistake.
Yep.
And by doing so, he continues to make mistakes. Yep. So if you're able to shore up the right side with a guy like Palestra, Dan Ndoye, I'm fine with as well. Like, I think that's still an upgrade, and he has experience in the Serie A and been successful. But Palestra is the dream for me. I think like you build your mercato around him, and everything else can fall into place afterwards, even if it's like a loan for Curtis Jones, and then you figure out some other stuff, whatever.
Yeah. I do several things there. I do a joker as well, because I think we need the tactical flexibility of being able to move off of this 3-5-2.
Yeah,
we just do. And that 4 that you described for the double pivot rotation, I love it. and then two behind a lone striker. Like Juve can be one of them, and then get me another joker. Give me somebody that can salta al uomo.
Yeah.
Take his man on and let it rip.
And we didn't even talk, like, I mentioned Thuram being sold, Dumfries. You could sell Hakan and get some. Galatasaray seems to be want him. Like, you can get money for him. And I'm not saying like a crazy sum, but that's still money coming in the door if you sell him. You free up money from Fratesi too. You free up money from Sommer leaving, Devray leaving, Acerbi leaving, and Mkhitaryan potentially leaving. That also allows you money to go sign players and pay, salaries. I'm talking about, like, wise. So there is a lot of things that can go well for us this summer. Not that this is going to be a Mercato episode, but like, just looking forward, it's stuff to be excited about.
Yeah, I agree on Palestra. I think he's actually a $50 million player.
Without a question.
I think taking potential into account, which is what you have to do when you sign players this season. I think he is when you sign players in this market, I think he's definitely a $50 million player. And then the last thing, we can shift over to talking about Luis Enrique and the other wing back here. He did some good things today, but I think what's emblematic of who he is as a player is late in the second half, he is played a ball. I think Juve played him the ball. He kicked it far up the pitch. Speed was great, to come down, and like it finally was like he was aggressive and he went for it. And then he played the worst ball that you've ever seen a wingback in Serie A play this season. Just tapped it across the box. There was no, I don't even know who he was looking at. There was no one there.
There was no one there. Yeah.
It's not good. And we can acknowledge that Inter wasn't good enough to win the Champions League this season, while also acknowledging that if we do the right things at the right spots, with the talent that we have, the mentality of the players that we have, and the experience that we have, we could do some things. You need a good goalkeeper. You need somebody on the right-hand side that, is a third of what Dimarco gives you on the left-hand side. And then you need a player that does things on the pitch with the ball at his feet. You're not that far away,
No, you're not. Like, I mean, I jokingly tweeted, or quote tweeted a Ricky Diana tweet about, Inter's interest in like Ederson, Goretzka, and Kone. And I said, listen, Kone, Palestra, a legit keeper, Kostov, Leoni, and Jones, and we win, 4 straight Scudetti, and who knows what we can get really in, in Europe as well. Look, it's like I said, Palestra is the dream. I don't really, as long as it's not Vicario, I don't really care who the goalkeeper. Like this kid from Braga, Horchek, yeah. Like I would prefer, like for 30 million, I'd prefer him to Vicario.
6'4". Like
I don't.
Yeah.
Like I don't love his reactions at time, and I think he makes some poor decisions with the ball at his feet.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's still 23. Like you could develop that. You know what Vicario is. It's not getting better than what Vicario is. Like he is just meaty, and he's terrible on set pieces, and he's afraid to like defend his box and weak in the air.
Go on all day.
I can keep going with him, but like you get a legit keeper, you get Palestra. Kostov, from reports, it seems like we are in the lead for that.
He's very good.
We should be wrapping that up shortly here. If that's the case, all right, maybe you don't need Jones. There could be a joker. Unless you're going to loan him to a Serie A club, but don't bring him to.
He is 17.
He is 17. Tough. Yes. So I'm fine if you loan him to a Serie A club and you still go, maybe you loan Jones in for the year and give him time to develop somewhere. But yeah, we're not far, like you said. There is a lot of things that like I think we could be legit contenders next season. Granted, there's a lot of dominoes that need to fall into place, but it could be an awesome thing for us.
Quick thing on Hornacek, and then I have a question about the right-hand side and how to play it for the rest of the year. You know what I saw with Hornacek in that tape? His size and athleticism, he was running into saves accidentally. And sometimes you need that. Like, I don't
Yeah,
really,
I mean, that's fun.
like Sommer with having Sommer as a keeper, especially, I think we've seen the value of like sometimes get a big body back there and you just run into saves. You can get lucky as a goalkeeper. I'm fine with that. Just off the fact that you're
I
fucking
am fine with
huge.
that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't need. Yeah, like, is it nice to have someone who like you're safe in goal? Absolutely. But yeah, if he is just gonna get luck his way into saves, however that may be, I'm okay with that as well. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of Filip Stankovic saving
Yes,
Venezia at the
today.
end of the game.
Oh my god.
Like, I'm not saying he's ready to be a starter, but like if you're able to sell Joseph Martinez for, let's say, even 10 million, let's just say, and you buy him back because we do have a buyback clause and we also have a 50% sell on fee if Venezia sells him anywhere else. So that's still money that could go either way for us. But if you
Reunite the
brought him back
brothers.
to back, that's what I said. Bring back the brothers, run it back. But if you're able to bring in, let's say it is Hornacek and Stankovic backing him up, I'm okay with that being your goalkeeping duo next season.
It could be elite, honestly. All right. The feelings of the mercato is taking over a little bit.
I know, and I'm getting excited, and I know what's going to happen is we're only going to get one thing, and then they're going to build around stuff I didn't really want. And
yeah.
I'm setting myself up for disappointment, people. That's all.
You're gonna set yourself up for the Mkhitaryan renewal.
Oh god.
But before we get into Mickey, and that's where I want to go to next, this right wing back position, Luis Enrique gets 90 today. We have a few games left potentially in the Coppa Italia, and then we have, essentially this run in at the end of Serie A. It's not that we have 12 or 11 games left in the Serie A. Dumfries is coming back from injury, but he is a player that I'm at 85%. He's not going to be part of this team next year. Luis Enrique, there's a chance that he is, but it's running real thin. And then, spot start for Darmian here or there. Juf continues to come off the bench. And then, there is a kid where if you rack up enough points here in the next few rounds, Kamate, I kind of want to see him. How do you play the rest of the season at this position, given all those names involved, to accomplish two things? One, you don't falter in the league and you get the job done. And two, you understand exactly what you need to be doing at this position. You know what each of these guys are heading into this summer.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm rotating between Luis Enrique and Dumfries, and I'll tell you why. It's for two reasons. One, I want people to get eyes on them, for them to have opportunities to show what they're able to do. And two, to be able to basically showcase them to be sold.
Yeah,
that's it. Kamate would be nice for the future, and it'd be nice to see what you have in that player, and maybe somebody in the Serie A, like on the lower end, wants to maybe buy him to be a starter. However, my main goal is to I want Bournemouth to still come back in the summer with 30 million for Luis Enrique. I do. You know how awesome that would be if you're able to still make a profit on a guy who doesn't really fit. His pace is incredible. He could be such a weapon here. We haven't had pace on that right side since Hakimi, and he has the same level of speed, maybe a little less, because Hakimi looks more graceful when he runs. He's
just a bit more of an athlete.
It's just unbelievable. The guy's a gazelle, really. But anyway, and then with Dumfries, I'm starting him in the derby. I'm starting him in that derby. I think. He had enough in the tank to come in for a little bit 2 matches ago. Mm-hmm. I think that you could start him, and even if he only gives you 45, 55 minutes, right? And then you sub him out if needed. Then you go to Darmian maybe in the second half, and you're able to you have that solidity there. You know what to expect. I'd be okay with that. I just want both to be showcased so that we can sell them. It doesn't if you rotate Diouf outside on some occasions, I'm fine with that too, because clearly you see how direct he is. I love his pace and his willingness to. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to make mistakes, and sometimes you need that.
Yes, he's made them, but that's going to help him get better. It hasn't discouraged him.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that. I would rather you take a risk, fail, as long as it doesn't lead to a goal where the opposition wins the game or even ties it, whatever. But I'm okay with you taking those risks if you're learning from them, or maybe you're trying something different, or hey, maybe I cut back in this instance instead of just try to drive it wide, whatever it is, But I think that you have to play those two guys on the right. as much as you can.
Yep.
Because like they're both pretty much on the way out, and hey, who knows? Maybe Barcelona comes in and is like, hey, you know what? 30 million for Dumfries. You know, we liked what we saw there, and then now you got 60 million from two right wing backs, who that'd be huge. You know,
Yeah, I think I was interested in seeing Kamate because I just like I'm excited about his potential, but you are right because he's not going to be part of the team next year no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the best use of minutes, and he probably is on his way to a Akin Sanmiro Pisa type loan where it's like
Yep.
you're on the worst team in Serie A, go
Go play 90 minutes every day. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
and Akin Samiro has looked good, right? So like, not saying that he's going to work his way in to Inter next year either, but that's a guy that again probably gets loaned out. Let's say now to an Empoli or a Lecce, and like he gets more minutes again. Like,
Yep.
continue to develop your youth players and give them opportunities, and who knows what you could have in the future there.
Okay. The rumors around this player have been concerning. I cannot lie. Henrik Mkhitaryan, they will discuss apparently a renewal in the coming weeks here, with it being understood that he's a bench player and a reduction in the wage. I don't see any reason to assign him minutes next season. Like squad revolution, let's finally press the button and kind of get it all out. Like let's not keep delaying it. Like, let's get it all out. That's how I feel about him. But that doesn't take away from the fact that today he did his job. That ball over the top to Dimarco is probably the best action in the final third that I've seen Mkhitaryan make in 2 years. I mean, let's be honest.
That's terrible. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, but yeah, that's just terrible. That's the best we've gotten in 2 years. But yeah, okay.
He did his job today. I think he 8 minutes, 59 minutes. I thought it was interesting that he was the first player off. That's not something that we're used to, but I guess holding the yellow card that makes sense. What did you make of Mickey? Are you open to his continued?
No. Like you see, like, you know what that reminds me of? Do you ever did you ever see the movie Little Big League?
Yes.
Do you remember when the player Jerry, who he ends up cutting, like the kid ends up cutting his like hitting coach and all that stuff, and the guy's like, he's getting excited because he gets a single up the middle for the first hit in like whatever 12 or 15 at bats, I forget what it was. He's like, see, man, that's all it takes. He's coming back. He's back. Like, that's what we're doing with Mkhitaryan with that assist. Like, we see
it happens all the time.
You see, we gotta hang on to him. Yeah, whenever I'm ready to cut, like when I was ripping him apart, that's when he scored the goal recently. Like everyone's like, oh, you bullied him, and now I got pissed off that he got substituted in. He ended up scoring a goal to help. And it's like, dude, that goal doesn't change that he had a stinker of a game that in that instance. This assist doesn't change that I think that he's just not a good enough player for this team. Yes, that ball, like, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Perfect. I'm not going to disagree with that. And like, he did have a good game, but one good game doesn't change a season. Like, I mean, everybody was still disrespecting Barella today. I don't know what they saw. I saw a guy who controlled the midfield. I thought he was doing good with his passes. He should have had 2 assists, but I mean, one was a fantastic save on a header from Boni. The other, like, Thuram just Thuram'd, and it is what it is. Like, yep. And I agree. Listen, if you want to like be upset that he headed the ball completely wrong, one, he was short. He jumped early, so he obviously was going to mistime it. And he's not a header. Like he's not a heading special. Like I could be upset if like that was like Icardi missing that header, right? Like, like he was fantastic with everything. Both feet, header, volleys, whatever. Icardi made, like, the ball ended up in the back of the net. But when have you ever seen him head a goal in? I thought, cool. I thought he was going to, I mean, granted, I didn't see, like, they didn't show an angle where how high the ball was. I thought he was going to chest it down, settle it, and shoot. but maybe it was too high to bring down. Like I didn't really see it, but like yeah, it was a poor effort. Fine, I'm not going to disagree, but he had a complete game, and people still hate on him. So
Yeah. Last thing on Mkhitaryan. Is that my phone ringing? Yeah. Last thing on Mkhitaryan. He hit the post today, also, but
bro, he did not hit the post. The deflection hit the post.
Hit the post.
He didn't. It was a deflect. That
he
ball
rocketed it against the post.
Oh my gosh, that ball was going to hit somebody's Sia in the stands, and you want me to get excited that he hit the post? Okay.
He if we're going to look at what we talked about earlier, where you don't want to you want to get this in the bag, this Scudetto in the bag as soon as possible. You have Hakan and Barella, who are back from injury. Zielinski continues to impress, and Sucic has really grown in the last, several weeks here, several games. There's no reason for us to continue seeing starting minutes from Mkhitaryan until this season, this Scudetto is wrapped up. That's my opinion. The four that start are Hakan, Barella, Zielinski, and Sucic. And it's a rotation. Those are the four that start until this thing is wrapped up. Fratesi, Mkhitaryan, off the bench, fine. But the rotation for those three spots are with those four until this thing is wrapped up. That's my declaration.
And I love it. I'm 100% with you on that. Like, yeah, he should have no business being there, having key minutes. Yeah, I'm ready to move on. Like, I know he's gonna stay, whatever, but like, I'm ready to just, yeah.
There's no reason. You talked about Barella there a bit. He created 4 chances today. The stats have him creating. I noticed it because I'm not constantly hating on him. And also, in all fairness, not great against Bodo, and it's not been great for a long time.
No, it hasn't.
It's not been great for a long time. But in his bad performances, we can look back at it. There's usually 2 chances created. It's the same thing that we were talking about, where like he usually has one ball that's right on target and we don't finish it. We've probably taken away the amount of assists from this guy this season is likely absurd. I thought today he busted his ass. The tackling wasn't perfect. He slid a lot and the ball ended up getting by him. But he worked hard.
But he also did win some.
He did win some
by sliding there. Like he did. I think he was like 2 of 5 on ground duels. So like, yeah, there were times where he got beat and then Genoa was able to go on the other, but he also did like stop 2 big attacking chances there as well.
Yep. 6 of 13 on ground duels. And that number 13, that number 13 is also much higher than what I typically see. I looked through the stats, after all these games. Barella's not usually involved in 13, 13 duels.
I was looking at successful dribbles, but he was 3 of 5 on those. Anyway.
Yeah. 3 or 5 on successful dribbles is good. 60% out of your midfield. Listen, a lot of people are now on the sell Barella train. And if this thing is moving to a double pivot, or if this thing is ending up with Hakan out the door and Stankovic in, you can't sell Barella. He still may be the player that we want him to be, but just not as a mezzala. He may have to move deeper at this point in his career. It just, we've been having this conversation all season, but that's what we're looking at. Players change. I mean, Hakan had to do a career switch, a position switch around this time in his career as well. And Barella's entering into it too. I think Barella's switch is more made up of the fact that physically he's run down and cannot be asked to do the things that we need out of this mezzala in Kivu's system, where you're high press all the time and you kind of want to have a little bit of speed and be able to take people on. But this was the captain's performance from Barella today, and probably doesn't deserve as much of the criticism that he's getting. Zielinski in the midfield, another solid game. Body feints, shifty, all that good stuff. It didn't end up in a contribution, but nonetheless, he gets 76 minutes. So if you look at the distribution in this midfield, Zielinski comes out in the 76th minute. Mkhitaryan comes out in the 59th. You have Hakan getting 30 minutes here. And you have Juve and Fratesi getting 15 each. Kivu played it right?
I mean, I think so. I thought this was honestly in terms of substitutions, and when he went ahead and did them, I think his timing was great. I thought the players that he brought on were the right ones at the right time.
Except for one. We'll talk about that.
Except for one. Okay.
One mistake.
One mistake. I'm curious what you think it is.
You want to go to it?
Let's go to it. Now I'm curious.
You're winning 1-0 at home, and you bring on Jan Bisek in the 66th minute, the most error-prone defender on the team. For me, when he did that, I was like, this has disaster written all over it. He's already given a handball penalty up to Genoa in his career.
Fair, but given how De Vrij was getting cooked in terms of pace, and now
with Ekuban and Ekator on
coming on, like it made sense to me to bring him on. Like he saw Ekator coming on. It was like he came on literally the same time that Ekator and Messias came on. He probably saw that. He's like, I gotta get him. I gotta get De Vrij out. Otherwise, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, 100%.
I didn't think about it like that, but that is true.
But like he probably thought like, okay, I can't have Ekator running at De Vrij, and then if he gets by him, it's over. And even though Akanji,
that's a good point. I changed my mind. You got me. You know what I mean? That's a very good point. You're right.
Even though Akanji had a bit of a horror show when he got moved to the center, where he almost scored an own goal. It was the right play at the time. Like you can't if Akanji puts that in, like thankfully Sommer was in the right position and also chested it and was able to bring it down and stuff. Like I think that could have been.
Zielinski almost scored a really comical own goal too.
Yeah.
That was tough.
But I mean, listen, I think it was the right play at that moment. But I get where you're coming from too.
So, you know what I mean? Like, because we've been burned with him in these moments.
Of course.
But I think you are right, and I actually I'm sure that's what Kivu was thinking.
Because he literally put him on right after Ekator came on. He's like, okay, I can't have this. No.
Ekator and Ekuban were that's quick. That's pretty quick. Speaking of Akanji, did he bounce back?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I still think you redeem him.
I agree.
Like I don't think it's I think it's a no-brainer in that regard. But yeah, like
it is. I'm concerned with what people are going to feel about Akanji because it does feel like a really awesome season is going to have this stain of you are one of the major reasons why we ended up getting knocked out, which again, I don't care as far as today is concerned, like 56 out of 59, 95% passing. It for some reason, watching the game, like I'm looking at the numbers, they look fine, but watching the game, I just didn't feel like he was super comfortable.
Can I thought this when it happened, and I mentioned it with Peter and Nico. When he hit his head and was gushing out blood, the impact that had to go right there for that to happen. Yeah, I know it's a sensitive area and it's easy to get a cut. And like I get it, but he did get split open. I think he was concussed. I'm gonna be real. Like the way he played after that, obviously making the brain fart of a play, thinking that Zielinski was cutting back behind him for whatever reason.
It was a very bad read.
Very bad read. And I think that only happens when you're just not there. And then even today, like he just felt lethargic. Like everything felt like he was reacting slowly to whatever was happening.
Yep.
And I think
see it too.
I think he might be like, I'm not trying to make excuses or absolve. Like, listen, you messed up. Like, I'm not trying to, but like, if you're playing with a head injury, which.
Do you remember the for the non-Americans, you don't have to listen to this part, but do you remember Rizzo when he got blasted at first base by Tatis, and
Mm-hmm.
then he came back, fairly soon after, and he was done for the rest of his career, and it was
Yeah.
entirely concussion related. He looked like he couldn't swing, he couldn't catch up to the balls anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That it's scary with concussions because it can turn you. And Rizzo at that point was like still able to contribute in his career. Akanji is still able to contribute in his career, and you get nervous when something like that happens.
Yeah. This is like the kind of thing where it's like granted, I'm sure he got cleared to play, but that doesn't mean there isn't like link. Like Tua Tagovailoa got cleared to play. I'm a Dolphins fan, like, and the guy still doesn't look right. So listen, it could be nothing. It could just be me trying to whatever shield a player. Like I don't think so. Like a head injury is serious. So you still made mistakes, but but like if it's something happened, like it's worth taking a look at. I don't know.
Yeah. Just to round out the defense here, Carlos Augusto. I thought he was really good today. Um, he offers an incisiveness with his ball progression with the ball at his feet in the final third that Bastoni does more. You can't take away the fact that he can put a ball into the box, better than any center back in the world. But Augusto is just different. And it really is a dangerous combination with him and Dimarco out there because Dimarco, he attracts so much attention. And Augusto has the incisiveness and the speed to like really take you down the byline and get in behind. And I thought he did that well on a number of occasions today. He is just so defensively sound. We've had this is the conversation we've been having about Carlos since he's gotten here.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's kind of like our new Darmian, to be quite honest. Like you could use him in multiple positions. He's just what you're gonna get week in, week out. It's not gonna be if it's anything more, it's he contributes a goal, but it won't be any less than what he typically does. He is so reliable and just trustworthy that it's a great problem for Kibu to have to balance. And if you do want to give Dimarco some rest, even going into the like, if we wrap up this Scudetto, to be honest, I mean, I would just want Dimarco out there to continue to stat pad and try to break the record. I don't know if he's gonna, but like, it'd be nice for him to get to challenge Ronaldinho on that assist record. But yeah, like knowing the importance of what's coming up for Italy, like it could be nice to preserve him
real
and
soon.
real soon. I was talking more if we did qualify for the World Cup, but anyway, like Carlos Augusto is just awesome to have, and I love how just we can count on him. Like, and if God forbid, like something happened to Bastoni, I would feel safe with him being the left center back. Like because he's just so solid.
Jan Sommer, they have him down as facing expected goal on target 0.08. So that clean sheet was earned by the defense, not necessarily him.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I want to point out here that I think is the relevant part of the conversation. We were talking goalies earlier in the pod. 4 out of 14 on long balls. That's 29%. Goalies don't typically have, very good percentages here. But some of those long balls are turnovers that put us into difficulty, and they're not really close to the target, especially with Pio on. There was one in the second half where like he missed them by like Pio wasn't in the direction. It's like, and it completely turned over a long spell of possession for Inter that he just pinged it to the other team. And they got it right in the middle of the pitch and like, started up on their attack. How important is we've talked enough about Jan Sommer at this point. How important is ball playing ability for our next goalkeeper for you?
For me, it's not really important. I'm gonna be real. Like it's a nice to have. It's not a necessity. I need you to just keep the ball out of the back of the net.
Yep.
Like
goalies be goalies, defenders be defenders.
Yeah, like as long as you could play the simple pass to your center backs there, I don't need you to like ping long passes. Like what Onana did was great, and it was also great that he just happened to be solid for us in the Champions League. Like shot stopping wise, he was phenomenal. But in the league, he did have errors. He did have some comical errors.
Was one.
Yeah, that was one. Sassuolo was another one where like it just was a really bad play by him. I think there was another instance where the ball he went like when you kind of put your knee down to kind of like shield it, and it went between his legs. It didn't go in, but it could if he was sitting any further back, it does go in.
Yep.
Just I want you to just be able to make saves. Like that's
the
it.
The value of you being able to keep the ball in the net is so much higher than those couple times that it gets turned over on the long ball.
Yeah, like if Donnarumma came, I wouldn't care. Like you can make all the errors with the ball at your feet. I know you're going to save everything. If a penalty happens, there's a 50-50 shot you're actually saving it. Like that's how secure you are. So like I just want someone who's going to come in, be a shot stopper, whether it's like a Carnesecchi, whether it's Hornacek, whether
I saw you put Svilar up there.
I mean, I think Svilar I think Svilar is more realistic than Carnesecchi, if I'm being honest. Especially if we're going to struggle with Percassi to get Palestra. To be quite honest, you're not going to get both.
There's Percassi, and then there's also Roma. Genuinely, is in some financial trouble.
Yeah, so if we're able to go for Svilar, I'm fine with that, man. Because I know 100%. You're a good shot stopper. Like you're not even good, you're a great shot stopper. And if I'm not mistaken, the top three in terms of expected goals against and saves are Magnan, Carnesecchi, Svilar. I'm good with any one of those. I mean, Magnan's not happening, but just you got Sommer who's 20th.
I'm gonna pull that up. What did you say it was?
I believe it was the expected goals against.
Let me do prevented goals per 90. Oh, Gianni. What did you say? You said top 3?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look, folks. Sharing the screen.
Oh man, I hope I was right then.
Data MB Pro prevented goals per 90 goalkeepers in Serie A. The top 3: Carnesecchi, Magnan, Svilar. Can you guys see that? Right there. And didn't you say Falcone was better? Didn't you tweet that the other day?
I said Falcone is better than Vicario.
Yeah.
I know he gave up not a softie, but he gave up a goal to Inter, that one on. I'm sure he wants it back against Mkhitaryan, but he was going the opposite way and he had to dive back there. Like that wasn't going to be easy. But anyway, people just
and look at the age too on Svilar,
bro.
Right in the prime. Same thing with Diogo Costa that we were talking about.
Right in the Diogo Costa too. I mean, if you're able to get Svilar,
and he's played in big Serie A games, like he's coached by Mourinho, Oh man, we could talk about Mercato all day. We didn't really touch on.
I could talk goalkeepers all day. I love goalies, but anyway,
I got a goalkeeper that I want to send over to you, by the way, to take a look at. I became enamored with him. I'll send it to you after.
Okay, I'm kind of excited now.
He's great. Anjo Amboni, 76 minutes.
Finally a start.
It looks like he came off with a little bit of he had a little something.
I hope it's not serious, but yeah, it was a little something.
Probably the only real from the forwards. Probably the only real threat all game. Early in the game, which this tends to happen with him when he starts. Where
Genoa was swarming him though. Like I think they knew that he would be more of a threat than Thuram.
But he was.
I mean, he was. But anytime he got the ball, there was 2 or 3 guys around him. Like he couldn't do anything in the box. He tried to find people to even pass. They were just closing in fast on him. I mean, listen, credit to De Rossi in that instance, knowing who your threats are and who to kind of try to negate. Fortunately, we had a wonder goal from Dimarco and a dumb play from Amorin. So,
are you noticing that when Bondi starts, he looks very dangerous early in the game, and then he fades later on, and then when he gets subbed on, he looks great for those 15, 20 minutes. Is there anything there for you?
I think he's just a young player who is dealing with the physicality of the league. Like, I mean, if you go look at his time at Parma, he didn't really have a lot of 90-minute games there either.
No.
Like, so it's just, I think he just, maybe doesn't have the lungs for 90 minutes, and that's fine. Like, I mean, Dimarco didn't for the longest time, and now he does. So maybe it's just something that'll develop over time, and he'll be able to get that.
Do you think
But
it's
he's also,
disinterest if things don't go his way?
I don't think it's
'Cause
disinterest.
that's a
I think he's
problem
just,
if it
I
is.
think if it is, yeah, 100%. But I think he's also just a physical player. So like he's using his strength, he's holding people off. Like that'll wear on you over time. I mean, it's kind of like the rope a dope, method that, Muhammad Ali would use kind of thing. Like I'm going to absorb all these blows and it should tire you out. But also if you land some, it's going to hurt. So yeah, it's if it is disinterest, definitely a cause for concern. I don't feel that's the case, but yeah, I guess that's something to monitor. I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. It's just you sort of notice how a pattern with
Yeah.
what happens to him in these games from the start and from the from when he gets on. He's great in these short bursts, but it's not very consistent. All right, last player before we shift into your questions here. Hakan Çalhanoğlu with those 30 minutes. I really love the way that he plays, and I love him in this midfield with Zielinski and Barella. I'd love to see more of him with Sucic. Obviously, he puts the penalty away. He plays so hard, like even that yellow card on Ekator or Ekuban, I forget which one. I'm fine with that. Like I just think he plays really hard, and then you have the chance that lasted today, the Idolo Nero Blue chance for him, coupled with another team's manager openly saying like he's coming. How I mean, are we supposed to be preparing for losing Hakan Çalhanoğlu?
Yeah, we should be. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I don't think, someone's dad posts, pictures of you in another club's uniform if that's not something that they want to see, that the family wants to see. You've obviously talked about it with them and probably made it clear through your through your agents and stuff or what your intentions are. And look, if this is the end, I appreciate everything that he's done. He's been a fantastic player. I think that um someone tweeted that they thought we didn't properly replace Brozovic, and I disagreed. I think, yes, like in terms of, you know, goal contributions, Hakan's always offered more than Brozovic. I think in terms of like those passes that break the lines, Hakan has been better than Brozovic in that sense. Yes, as a defender, Brozovic is better. He's like a more secure in front of the back line for sure. But I think that Hakan's also has been able to do that. Maybe not as often as Brozovic does, but he still was a solid regista for us, an incredible player. And look, I'll cherish the time that we had with him. I mean, it's going to be scary to think who's going to be taking the penalties for us going forward because whenever he steps up, like I feel like it's a guarantee, pretty much. But hey, that's a problem for next season. Maybe Zielinski becomes the guy that takes over. I'd be fine with him. I feel pretty comfortable with him. Or maybe you kind of can convert Dimarco into that guy because I think that
like why he should be.
He missed one penalty in his first actual full season starting, and he's kind of never been asked to do it since.
He missed against Atletico too, right? Or did he score?
I know Klaassen missed, Lautaro missed, somebody else missed in that game.
I'm forgetting.
I don't know. I don't think it was Dimarco. I could be wrong.
We do need to Hakan is a lot to replace.
Yeah, he is.
But
that's why you have Alexander Stankovic, and he is going to come in and replace him.
And then we have to get one more. Hakan, I feel like you can't just replace one for one with Stankovic.
And it's gonna be Kone too.
You think so?
No, I don't. They're probably Roma's gonna listen. If I have to choose between Kone and Svilar, I'm taking Svilar.
Yeah, like that's the bigger hole.
That's the bigger hole without a question. You are all right. I don't want this to. I'm sorry. This isn't really trying to be like a Mercato episode, but Stankovic, is a foregone conclusion. We are bringing him back. You have Fratesi probably on the way out. Hakan probably on the way out. Turam, Henrique, let's say Dumfries, Pavard is going to be on the way out. And let's say that's probably like we were asking for 15. I think we'll probably settle on 10 somewhere with whoever it is, whether it's,
Saudi league for 8 million.
The Saudi league, suppose Dortmund are rumored to be interested in him. Like, all right, fine, you get those things. If you're able to get, let's say, Svilar and Stankovic and Palestra, that's a strong mercato. Really is. Like, that's like a really nice one.
Two players entering their prime and one who is, still there's a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, 100%. The conversations around Kostov seem to be pretty concrete. That's one for the future, which I'm fine with as well. Like, I feel like if you do that, if you sell Joseph Martinez, look, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Como looked for a goalkeeper. He's Spanish. Maybe Fabregas wants to bring him in, and knowing how he comes from the Barcelona school, which is where he came from as well. Like, there could be something there, maybe 10, 15 million as well. Like, I don't think you're going to get back what you paid, but I think if you could get 10, that's nice too, right? Like, on a guy you don't see being the starter, so who cares at that point, right? So, like, yeah, listen, it'll be interesting to see how we go about it, but I think Stankovic is a step in the right direction. You still have the veteran presence of Barella and Zielinski there.
That would be the key to cover, because the reason why I'm saying Stankovic doesn't necessarily cover Hakan is because his range of passing, while good, it's not Hakan's level, but Barella could be that.
And so could Zielinski. Zielinski has a great range of passing. Like, he's not going to slice a ball through the midfield like Hakan did that one time against Juve. Like, no one's going to do that except for Hakan. But if you're able to do, just still have the long ball in your game, still have the vision to pick out the right play at times, I'm cool. I'm cool with, going forward with those four as your potential double pivot rotation.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm hoping we just wrap up this title so we can have these conversations. Yeah, Sharma's been doing some good stuff on the goalkeeper situation. I've got some players that I'm interested in, so hopefully we can wrap it up and get this closer. All right, let's go to the listeners. Lee Theobald, job done, Scudetto getting closer. Yeah, the more rounds we go, and if we continue to maintain this lead, hopefully we can wrap this up fairly soon. M6 Zeki, who is Auxilio out. He wants everyone to know. It's in his name. Did Friendrip impress you guys? Most distance covered, good at tackling. I take him as a backup if Fratesi and Mickey leaves. Bondi injury worries me, and this is why I wanted 5 strikers at Inter. 2 out of the 4 strikers are injured, and now they don't have backups. Also, Akanji looked a little shaky. I'm out on Friendrip because I think I'd rather spend the money on a different kind of profile. For me, he's a specialist. Like,
he's just a defensive player. Like, that's really all he is. He's great at covering ground. He's great at challenges and coming in with the tackles. But in terms of going forward and progressing, I wouldn't want the play running through him. I do see it. Like, I like him as a player. But don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like him. I just don't see him fitting in. Like to me, he's a lesser version of Morten Hjulmand, who, I mean, we can never get because he's killing it with Sporting. But
a smaller, skinnier version of
Hjulmand. And Hjulmand is, I definitely think, stronger. I mean, not definitely think, he is stronger, and he's better in the air, but he also can pick out a pass. Like, I think he's better on the ball than Friendrip as well. So like, I would have been fine with Hjulmand if we got him from Lecce. I did want him from Lecce when he was around, but yeah, I think, like you said, a different profile is needed. I would, since Stankovic appears to be the guy who's coming in, you don't really need to worry about bringing in a guy like a Friendrip.
And then with Bonni, he's saying that we needed 5 strikers, 4 was not enough. Any thoughts there?
I mean, I can understand the concern, and obviously now that this is, but it could just be something where he picked up a little knock this game. They pulled him out, and he's ready to go next match. For the derby. I'm saying I think they might rest him if all things go well in the Coppa Italia for us. But who would you want as a fifth striker? There's nobody. There was nobody out there. Like,
I mean, you could have,
look,
this
Lookman
is,
wasn't happening, unfortunately,
yeah,
right? Like, and if that happened, would Pio have developed? Because honestly, you know that if Lookman came, he would have been the first guy, either the first guy starting, the first guy off the bench. It would have been like Turamin, as a seniority thing. Like, it could have affected Pio and Boni's growth. Like, I think that this was the right situation. Unfortunately, like now, yeah, if it's injuries, like then who knows what's going to happen. But Idrisu's looking good for the
he is.
the
Did
team.
you see that comp that came out?
Yeah, man. So like maybe you got to use him. Nothing to worry about, but I don't trust it anymore. He told me no. He's come.
Yes. So Kivu says nothing to worry about, but he also says that, they've told him this before, and then something always comes up. So I think that's the right level of caution.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't know what's going to pop up.
And who knows? Right. Maybe this gives you an opportunity to try something different. Now you do go to the one striker, you do Pio up front, and then maybe you have
Juve and Thuram behind Pio.
Juve and Thuram behind Pio.
Yep. And Thuram played out on the left-hand side
at
Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
Juve coming in, from the right-hand side. Dimarco and Dumfries or Luis Enrique overlapping on the right. Let's see it.
I'm cool with it.
Peter Jordan, not overly impressive, but a win is a win, and it didn't need to be impressive as the result was never in doubt. Could have been much more too, but for Bailo turning into prime Buffon. Dimarco MVP secured, on to Como, and then Milan. You worried about Como at all?
No, we've handled them pretty easily. I think Fabregas gets a little too cute with his tactics and stuff, and it's kind of like Nico Paz and Inshallah right there most of the time. So
that's getting clipped.
And Baturina.
That's getting clipped.
Shout out Baturina on my FC 2016. Guy's a baller off the bench.
Is he?
Yeah. I actually turned. All right, I turned Cambiaghi into an 89 left winger. Whew, he's fast, bro. He's a fast player.
I always liked Cambiaghi.
Cambiaghi, I like. It's Cambiaghi, Scamacca. Well, I do like a 4-2-4. It's crazy.
The Conte, the early Conte at Siena system.
So I got Cambiaghi, Dzeko, Scamacca, and Zaniolo up front. Thuram. Lautaro the first off the bench, because usually he's a 90, and even though he's the best one, I'd rather him go against the tired guys, because then I just exploit them with Lautaro late. It's just disgusting. And then it's Zielinski and Barella in the middle, although I'm working on getting the 91 Andrea Pirlo icon card. Bro, my team's going to be
post those game
my
clips,
team's going to be so sick. Bro, I just post nobody.
I saw you, Dimarco.
Nobody fouls me anymore. I think by sharing the videos, they're like, yo, we can't give him a free kick with Dimarco. And I'm like, dang.
That's funny. Intertwined, solid, no nonsense, all business. You can tell there are some tired legs out there. After Como, it will be nice to go back to one game a week. Well, hopefully they get past Como. And then
we end the season with a nice little Coppa Italia before we celebrate the Scudetto. Who's honestly, who's on the other side of the table?
Lazio and let me check the bracket. I'm pretty sure it's Lazio. Was it Bologna? Lazio Atalanta. So
I'd feel better if Lazio made it through. Not likely, but
it's not. But I don't.
Yeah, I don't trust. I don't trust Lazio. Anyway.
No. All right. Well, that's all the listeners. Anything we got to tell the people before we get going here?
Don't think so. It's nice to have you back.
Appreciate it.
It's been kind of. I'm sure people are like, "Yo, why the heck is Johnny leading these podcasts, bro? Like, what is going on?"
Oh man, I'm just it's color and play by play. We're a banger team right here. That's what we do.
Tell you, man, I need you. I need
That's
you
what
here.
we do.
You gotta stop faking sick, bro.
Yeah, that's what happened. I'm gonna be, for the people that I've noticed that I haven't been tweeting, have not been on the pod. Needed a little break. I'm coming back. Starting tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow, but I'll shoot off some tweets. And we're back at it. Interviews pod. What episode was this?
194.
6 away from 200.
Sharma said we better make it to 100. Now we're doubling.
And now we're doubling that.
Now we're doubling it.
It
So
did not take that long, thanks to a couple long Champions League runs. To not take that long.
I mean, to think we just celebrated our 3rd year as a podcast just now.
Our first game was the second leg of Benfica in the Champions League. Or was it the first leg?
Nah, I think it was the second leg.
When we got to the final that year. Time flies. 200 episodes later. Well, almost. We got to make it there. All right. In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi.